Good evening, everyone. Before we start our meetings, we have a special guest, Perry Superintendent of Schools, Terry McClarty, and he's going to speak to us first.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Mayor Johnson, City Manager Parnell, and council members. Very proud to be here tonight. I don't have a plan to take too much of your time, as I have another presentation that begins at 6:30 to go to, but by now you may have heard that there will be an upcoming election on November 6th. And on that election, Perry Schools will have two questions on a ballot. One of those for new projects, new construction for a proposed new junior high, new athletic center, textbooks, technology, safety, security, other renovations, and another question for transportation. So just a sample ballot on what that would look like. There'll be two different questions on that. By law, we have to have our transportation on a separate question. And I just kind of wanted to make everyone aware and give it every opportunity possible to discuss this, open it up, but this is something that our current bond that we're on expires in June of 19. And for us to continue to progress forward from a facility standpoint, from an educational and academic standpoint, we feel like the time is right now that we get this back on the books and get a vote by the people. And so we have done a lot of extensive background work on this. We've engaged with an architect service back in the spring. I feel like we have some pretty good plans that we're going to submit to the public for the vote. And we specifically chose November 6th, and we know it's a general election, but we feel like we want this to be something that we get as high a voter turnout as possible, because we want to know where everyone stands on this and we want to hear from everyone. So the last couple of weeks, including this upcoming week, the week we're in, next week, and the week after, I'm just busy making my rounds, talking to all the various groups throughout the city, Rotary, Lions Club, and Ministerial Alliance, and probably anybody that you can name, I'm speaking to. And so I really wanted just to come here tonight to kind of make you aware of that and what these projects entailed. Just for your benefit, I'm not going to give a whole PowerPoint or any other presentation, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have of me.
I have a question, and I think you touched on it.
Yes.
But the financing of it, is it a bond that's being paid off and will be continued then?
That is correct. The current bond that we're on will cycle off in June of 19, and this one will stay on the books in terms of the millage rate, so it will not have an impact on the current millage rate. The common question that I get on the presentations is if this does not pass, will the taxes go down? And yes, that's true, they will go down. But if it does pass, it will not raise the taxes, it will just maintain. And if your taxes would happen to go up, it would not be because of this bond in terms of what it provides for the schools. And so we just feel like right now we really need to move forward with doing this. And it's going to be really a benefit, not just for our students, but I think for the city of Perry as well. I'm very excited about that.
At our present rate, how long will this bond extend our payments?
12 more years. Yeah. The bond that we're on was passed in 06. So it would pretty much say the exact same.
When will construction start?
Probably start late spring, early summer of 19, with a completion date of hopefully the fall of 2020.
And I know there was questions throughout, what is the general idea about storm shelters? Because that has been a big one for everybody.
It is the actual proposed concept with the junior high and the athletic center they are all under one roof, so it's one building. But we have 4 locker rooms that are built into the gymnasium side of that are all considered areas of refuge. And although they're not FEMA endorsed, they are areas of refuge that meet pretty much the same specific requirements without maybe a little bit of just red tape and terminology. But as someone who had some experience with this in a previous position that I was at, that's how they identified their areas were areas of refuge without going through the FEMA route.
Would some of the existing buildings continue to be used?
Well, the existing junior high would be torn down and turned into parking.
Okay.
We would not mess with John Devine. We're going to keep that one just from a secondary or even just a practice site. But we might use it occasionally for certain events. But our intention would be to keep that and tear down the current junior high. And again, I have some flyers here. If anybody's interested in a flyer, these are just fact sheets that we have developed. If you're interested in those, I can leave a stack of those that you would like to look at, kind of outlines some of the projects in a little bit more detail, but not a whole lot. But it does outline the categories, the areas that we would be proposing in terms of how the bond is, with specific areas targeted for academics and technology and safety and security and some certain things that we're going to do. And those are all features within the bond and things that we have budgeted appropriately for.
What about cafeterias for the high school?
Good question. Currently, our high school utilizes a cafeteria which exists in the junior high. We've had several conversations with Keystone Food Service, who provides our food service for the entire district. So obviously, the junior high cafeteria would move to the new junior high. In our high school cafeteria, we currently serve about 40 students per day in terms of lunch, about half that amount for breakfast. But Keystone's really working diligently, not just because of Perry, but throughout school districts across the state on how they have really revamped their lunch and how they serve lunch. A lot more of it's gotten to more of a grab and go while still trying to meet nutrition requirements. So we feel like that if we have a place for them to serve those items, that in a couple of years when that comes, we have space inside the current high school and some of the current commons areas that we have there and the existing areas by the vending machines, that we could adequately seat the students that would eat there.
Does the bond funding cover the cost of demolition of the existing building?
It does. We have already got the question was about the demolition of the current junior high, and we've got a bid for that right now, that the bond would cover that.
Do you have another opportunity to give the community to come together and hear your presentation?
Great question. October 23rd is a Tuesday night, and we will having a town hall forum down at the Heritage Center. That starts at 6:30, and anyone and everyone is invited. And at that particular not only will I be there, but our board representation will be there. We'll also have representatives from Seltzer Schaefer Architects, and also our construction managers would be there should this bond pass. And so again, that's at the Heritage Center on Tuesday, October 23rd at 6:30.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for all.
You
all
can't
guys
leave
do as
those
well.
pamphlets.
I'll just leave a few up here if you don't mind. Sure. Thank you. Good
Good
evening.
night. Now we'll call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority. It is October 15th. Oh, I don't know.
But she fed you good.
Oh, that's right.
So
Okay.
you can let Brian do it.
Brian, go
You
ahead.
can just hang tight. I'll start again. Good evening. Today's date is October 15, 2018. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Carnegie Library Board. Dixie, if you would call the roll.
Coldarn. Gilbert.
Here.
Franklin.
Here.
Hicks.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
Seabolt. Here. Morrell.
Here.
Stroller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
I do declare a quorum. Tonight's invocation is going to be by Councilman Stroller.
Will you all join me, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to give you the praise and glory you deserve for all things in this community. We just want to tell you thank you for giving us such a wonderful town to live in and such wonderful people together around this table to try to do the city business. We know that you will help us this evening to clear our minds and have an open heart to the things that you want us to, decisions you want us to make that will glorify your name. And I ask that you be with all the citizens in this town that are in need at this time, and all the sickness and health issues. I just ask that you bless them and bless the people that are surrounding them, so that things can get better if that's your wishes. In all things we do, we want to look forward to what your will is, and I pray this all through your Son's name. Amen.
Thank you, Bill. The first item is the consent agenda. You'll see that there are items A through E. You can either approve those, or if there's any to remove and talk about further, we can do that as well.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
We can skip down to item 5. Any comments from those assembled in regard to the Carnegie Library? I can say on behalf of all of us, thank you, Pam, for hosting us tonight.
Thank you.
Nice dinner, a nice little tour, so we appreciate that. We'll move on to item 6, presentation of the oral quarterly report on the library usage and statistics on the Perry Carnegie Library by Pam Rigg, head librarian. Pam?
Hey,
Fancy seeing you again.
I had so much fun, thank you all. We were happy to host an informal dinner at the library tonight for the library board and those who regularly attend city council meetings. Tyson, I can't believe you weren't there. We wanted the library board to have the opportunity to see our wonderful facilities and say thank you for all their hard work on behalf of the library. This upcoming week at the library will be a little crazy. In addition to hosting a dinner for the library board meeting, kindergartners will be besieging the library Wednesday morning at 9. They will be at 4 locations around the square learning about community helpers. They will come to the library in 4 groups. We'll give them a tour of the library and have prepared a pumpkin goodie bag with a pencil and information on how to get a library card. They should be there for about an hour and a half, and then Meredith starts story time. I do the tours. School is out for fall break on Thursday and Friday. Thursday, we're holding a program at 4, and we'll be playing silly games and taking away points when they dare to laugh. Friday, we're delighted to host Fab Lab from Tulsa. We didn't have very much advance notice that Fab Lab would host a session at our library. We rushed to make a flyer and market this wonderful opportunity. 15 children can sign up in the morning session from 10:30 to 1:30. The children use laptops to make a design that a machine will engrave in acrylic, and they include an LED battery and light. So the end result is a very nice piece of art. Fab Lab will host an afternoon session for all ages from 2 to 4. This is a quality program and is supported by grants. The staff laptops, printers, and craft supplies will arrive in a truck and trailer at the street in front of the library, and so the front of the library will be blocked off. But this is such a wonderful program. We've hosted it twice before. My kids signed up to be there. I said, Wes, you want to go? He said, yeah. So whenever I looked at it this morning, we had 5 spots left. So call the library and reserve your spot. Theater Thursday is still thriving. The attendees love the movies and the popcorn. They give input for the movies. Public performance rights do limit our selections, and if we can't find a recent release they would like, we throw in something a little older. The ladies and occasional gentlemen join the camaraderie and fellowship. The series of babysitting clinics still has plenty of room for enrollment. The fee is $25 and covers first aid and CPR. The Noble County Extension Office is hosting this wonderful opportunity for teenagers at the library. There are 6 sessions on Tuesdays with 1 on Thursday. So they sign up and they go to all the sessions, because that does include CPR and first aid. The first class is on October 23rd, and the classes go from 4 to 5:45. Enroll your child and give them the tools to safely start their own babysitting business. So you register with the Noble County Extension Office, and that's 580-336-4621. Barely any luck, almost done. Santa will be visiting the library on December 19th. Last year, this was a favorite program. The event will be after school so the older kids can attend. We've learned that. You want it after school because otherwise the big kids don't get to come. So we will have a snack, a craft, and a photo op with the man in red. We'll have Santa upstairs by the Christmas tree. We'll also have some crafts and snacks available downstairs. We're excited to host events like this to get young readers and their families in the library.
Thank you for the update, Pam. Any questions of Pam?
$25 for the whole clinic?
Yeah, all 6 sessions.
Okay.
And Ben Trainer will be the one leading the first aid CPR.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Pam. We'll move on to item 7. Is there any new business related to the Perry Carnegie Library Board? I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please, Dixie.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Tebow. Yes. Morrow.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. As I stated earlier, I want to welcome each one of you to the Perry Municipal Authority meeting. It is October 15th, 2018. Roll call, please.
Colnard. Gilbert.
Here.
Franklin.
Here.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Here.
Seabold. Moore.
Here.
Stroller.
Here.
Johnson.
Here. I do declare a quorum. Item 1, the consent agenda. Receive and approve the minutes of the PMA meeting of October 1st.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Seabold. Yes. Moore.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled concerning the PMA. Seeing none, proclamations, commendation, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Council, staff. Seeing none, move on to item 6, new business. Any new business to be brought before the authority this evening? Seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Seabold. Yes. Moore.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you. We now call to order the regular meeting of the City of Perry's City Council meeting, October 15, 2018. I get confused when I read out loud. But it's being held here in the Perry Chamber, so roll call, please.
Coldiron. Gilbert.
Here.
Franklin.
Here.
Hicks.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
Seabold. Here. Morrell.
Here.
Stroller.
Here.
Johnson.
Declaration, you declare a quorum. It's not declaration day. Item 1, consent agenda, items A through I. Any of those that confused you or you have questions about? I did, but I finally got an answer. Do I have a motion to accept as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Seabold. Yes. Morrell.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 4, comments from those assembled. Any comments concerning council meeting this evening? Seeing none, item 5, proclamations, commendation, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Council, staff. Seeing none, we move on to item 6, our city manager report.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Monthly update. Go ahead.
I wanted to go a little bit more depth in the positions that you've probably seen or will be seeing posted in the Daily Journal. Just wanted to say these are 2 different positions. One is Community Development Director, which is mainly building inspection. He or she can cross over into code enforcement. And there's also Code Enforcement Officer. They can't work up, basically. They can't do the job of the building inspector. So it's important that we have both of those positions. I do intend to keep them separate as possible. We have a lot of code issues. We also have some other issues as far as projects coming down the road for building inspection that we need, whether it be residential or commercial. Also want to notice that the Perry Daily Journal is our paper of record, so we do advertise in there first, but we also advertise in OML, which is Oklahoma Municipal League, their classified section, and if it's a police issue, we also post that on the CLEAT website as well. These positions that we're posting, they're specialized positions, and normally we like to cast a little wider net so that we can capture some other talent that may not be local. Part of the need to do this is our code enforcement officer position becomes vacant December 15th, and it's a job that's involved, and we want to make certain that we try our best to get someone in so that we can transfer that knowledge, that institutional knowledge that we have in our code enforcement officer. It seems like every week now, this is exaggeration, but it just seems that every week we get 2 more positions that folks have decided to move on for whatever reason it may be, maybe family. The 2 that we got today cited the consistent historical low pay. That's just the way it is right now. So that's what we're facing. But these positions, especially both of them that we got notified today, they are CDL positions, and those are specialized positions as well. Did want to mention about street projects. You know, we've had a lot of rain recently that keeps throwing us back a little bit. And because of the rain, we decided that we're going to put off Jackson from 9th to 12th to next year, rather than starting it and have to stop in the middle and have half of it torn up. So we're going to put that off until next year. They should, Evans and Associates should finish the alley, the pharmacy alley this week. Even though it's gonna rain a little bit, we hope that'll be towards the end of the week, and they should be able to finish that pharmacy alley. And then they'll move to the 6th and 7th block of Jackson. They think that they can finish that this year, rather than have it start and then have to stop because of weather conditions or something like that. I'd rather not start at all than get half done. Any questions or anything?
They did go finish the intersection at 9th and Jackson. And all the rain we had this week, it didn't hold much water. So I was really pleased in the way that turned out.
I haven't been by there this week, but did they put the gutter down the middle of the street from north to south?
No.
That will help it even more. But when Stephen Frank was in last week to look at another project that we have, I told him it's not finished. In my layman's eyes, it's not finished. And he said, well, we were told it was finished. Make a trip by. And he realized that it's not finished. So they did go and finish it. Thank you.
Well, I sure wanted that done prior to winter. And it was kind of becoming a burden to the church there. So even what they've got now without the gutter, it's plenty efficient for.
Yeah, and it looked unfinished, you know, prior to this. So good, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you. Item 7, Chief Financial Officer Report.
Hi. You all get me tonight.
We got a special guest tonight.
I guess it's a tax deadline. So I don't know anything about taxes. I'm a CPA, but I'm one of those that know anything about taxes.
You can pick your battles.
That's right. That's right. So y'all know GASBs and FASBs.
She's smarter than I
All right, so we're 1/4 of the way through the fiscal year. Total cash of the city, $9.7 million. We're down about $134,000 from where we were. Timing of payment on our OMPA bill, as far as paying that OMPA bill out and getting some collections back in. And that's a significant swing in our cash balances right now. And you'll see that specifically in the utility fund, down $111,000 just based upon that timing. So no significant concerns about cash. Just to point out, because this, I think as you all start making decisions about capital improvements, $1.7 million still sitting in that AMR, the 2017 bond funds. We've also got $826,000 in the street piece and $612,000 in just the capital improvement piece. So we've got some bond proceeds, which I know you all have committed, but it's good to have those numbers there. Questions on cash? Okay. When I flip to the general fund, we're 1/4 of the way through, so 25% of budget is where we should be. I want to point out specifically in the month of September, sales tax was strong. $148,000 was deposited in the month of September. I know we've since received October's sales tax. It wasn't quite as good as what September's was, but we're focusing on September because those are the financials that you have in front of you. So $148,000 in sales tax for the month. That's up about 9% from what was deposited in August. And when we go back all the way to September of last year, we're up almost 20%. So it was a nice month. We needed that windfall because we've kind of been declining a little bit, but it was a nice windfall. Looking at expenses, specifically things that we can control, unlike sales tax, all departments were at 25%, which is their budget, or around 25%, other than 2. Street was over 25%, as was economic development. Both of those are related to capital outlay that you all have approved in previous meetings. So every other department keeping on track with their spending. So leaves us with $134,000 of basically net profit, although we don't use that term in governmental accounting, but profit for your general fund. Questions on general fund? Okay, last one, your moneymaker. The municipal authority. This one, again, looking good. Electric revenues, as you all note, 30% of budget. I told you we should be at 25%, we're sitting at 30, very strong. That's what we expect. If we weren't sitting at 30, I would be concerned. Everyone runs their air conditioner in the summer months. We have great margins in these summer months. Things will start getting tighter. They will get closer as electric usage goes down. We need to ride this wave, what we make in this first quarter of the year, all the way through to that fourth quarter till people start running their air conditioners again. So a profit from our operations of electric, water, and sewer, as well as trash, about $978,000. So very positive there. We take out administrative revenues, what it costs to transfer money back over to the general fund to keep those operations moving. We're at basically a break-even point of $64,000. So overall, a little under $200,000 between the two funds, our two operating funds. So a little better than break-even for the first quarter of the year. Questions? One more comment before you want to move on. Auditors were in last month and the first part of September. They have completed their field work. They have the first draft of the audit report. They're still reviewing that. I have yet to receive comments back on that. I do expect comments on that, but I'm hopeful that we can present, hopefully at that first meeting next month.
Very good.
Makes me feel better. Item 8, discussion and possible action to consider alternatives for working in the floodplain for a sewer line replacement project CDBG number 1729918. I'm running out of gas here. Says we really, the floodplain is mapped back here in your documents. Shows this, and Jennifer Fairguard is here to help us understand what's going on. And if you look back in section 8, there's some mapping back there, and she's going to explain the effect of the paper.
Blaine had sent in a letter explaining all the aspects of looking for alternatives to this area. If you look at the map, there's a very small portion of the sewer line replacement project where some manholes and a little bit of line connection happens in a floodplain. And so we have to address those. Part of CDBG grant means if we have that, then we have to open to the public for public comment to see if there's any concerns about it. So that's kind of what we're doing. Blaine has really, on this letter that he presented to you, really good at explaining everything that's going on there. On the first page of his letter, if you look down towards the second to last paragraph, it just explains that a very small portion of it is in that area. There are 3 manholes and approximately 253 linear feet of sewer line that are located within the floodplain. Approximately 100 linear feet of this alignment is within the delineated floodplain. So part of what the plans that we have in there to make sure that we don't disturb too much of that area so water can still flow the way that it needs to flow, and not impact the 100-year floodplain, is to do some bursting in place. So the segment beneath 9th Street that will be installed will be through pipe bursting method, so ground disturbance will be none or very minimal. And then when we hit the manhole sections, again, very minimal, temporary, everything should still allow the water to flow. As far as alternatives to doing what's already existing, I mean, this is existing, this has been existing in the floodplain for quite some time. So we're not adding a new section of line, we're not disturbing new ground. It is just simply replacing what's already existing. We don't have any practical alternatives to this. There's no environmental hazards, there's no habitats for endangered species that we're impacting. So Blaine really strongly feels that we should be able to do this project and still be in compliance with everything we need to do to the floodplain.
And most of it out in the floodplain, it would be adjusting manholes to be above the 100-year
Yes.
flood elevations.
Yes.
Is the main thrust of that work, and the pipe bursting should be minimal. So that's good.
And that pipe in the floodplain has sufficient enough cover that we don't have any fears of it becoming?
I don't believe so. That's why they're bursting it. Now, on the other part where it floods outside of that, where you just have your normal storm drainage, I know that those will be brought down lower, so there should not be any issue. But then again, it'll be minimal disturbance and everything will be put back so that water can flow.
Up in the neighborhood, Pecan Street, 12th Street, down through that park
Mm-hmm.
is where we'd be concerned of that happening. That's where we're getting some new line up in the creek where the lateral lines are exposed, not lateral lines, service lines.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the reason we're building a new sewer up in there.
Cool.
To eliminate those.
I know down east of, between 9th and 7th Street on that phase over there, I've seen those, the whole manhole underwater over there before.
Yeah, that's, gotta raise them up.
I think David Payne may have something to say.
Oh, you think David would have something to say?
David, got anything? Any concerns?
I haven't looked at the map. Do you have that floodplain map, Jennifer?
Yes. Let me give you a bigger one.
And, while you all are doing the surveys for that, I would like to be able to pass along your survey information for this area to the state so that they can continue their floodplain.
I gotcha. Okay,
Up into this area,
okay,
because that's not been done.
right.
Right.
It stops, literally stops right there,
Right.
yes.
And we need this information all the way up here.
Sure.
So this would be a good opportunity to collect that data.
I'll let Blaine know.
If
Okay.
you look back here and you see a kind of blue map, it's a FEMA map. It's got, kind of a map of the city, then a blue area with squiggly lines in it. That's the estimated elevations along the floodplain. And what they show is what
Is
they
this what
think
this
the
is,
water
the floodplain
elevation
now?
will be in
Yes.
there.
Yeah, literally dead stops right here, and then this is big.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's what he's saying, if we can share that,
Okay.
that information
send
on
it.
the
So
survey,
that's all
then they
through
get
that creek
expanded.
all the way down through there.
It should be. But because they haven't done that, then technically we're not going to count it.
Yeah.
But I know that we'll do our best to make sure that there's no hazards.
Oh, Jennifer, I have another question too, please. We've had complaints in this area of the erosion along that creek. Will this project correct?
I
that
believe
erosion?
so, yes.
Okay,
I believe
David,
that's,
that
that's
was
part of why we're
planned.
doing this.
that's where
Mm-hmm.
you,
Yeah, I went out there and walked it with them.
yeah, okay. All right, good.
Get rid of those service lines crossing the creek in the air.
Do we know who to pass this information on to at state?
If not, Blaine probably does.
Yeah, between Blaine and I think we can get to the right
Water
people.
resources.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
Mayor, I'd like to point out, I suppose everyone knows, but Jennifer's the one that got us the $159,000 CDBG grant, and she got it to us with, we had like 20 days before
pretty
filing,
quick.
and she put everything aside and worked on our application. So, I mean, you work for another public entity and all, and how many times do you get a rousing clap? Thank you. You did a really good job.
It's embarrassing, no. Okay. It's, you guys did it, I mean, I just helped get the paperwork in order and you guys got the score, so I'm happy to be of service.
Well, we thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have a question, so, is phase 3 go all the way through this number 20 manhole?
Yes,
Okay. So it actually goes past 9th Street to the east a little
Right,
ways?
right.
yeah, just that one manhole right there.
Alright.
Have you seen any east of there overflow?
No, but I've seen that one overflow this weekend.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
that, we'll hopefully get that fixed.
It's not good.
I will say that, your, sewer guys were out there working Thursday night until 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, I could hear them, I woke up, looked out my window at 1:30 and they were still out there.
Man.
So, man, I give it up to those guys. And it was cold and wet that night.
And they were using the old machine.
Yeah.
The new one broke, clutch went out or something like that, so they were having some issues with not having the right nozzles.
Yeah, I was out there with them till about 10:30 and they had to leave, go get more water. And I think they made 3 or 4 trips to go get more water. And I'm like, peace out, boys. It's cold and I'm wet and I'm going to the house.
We have a great staff all through the departments. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Dedication. All right, we'll move, thank you, Jim.
Now that, between 9th Street and that number 20 manhole, I mean, there's some woods down there you can't walk through almost. So there'll be, have to have some pretty good work to get into that 20th manhole.
Approve this.
So you're saying number 20 is on the east side of 9th Street?
It is on the east side, it'll be just west of the Hall property where they go to that horse pasture there, just west of their west fence.
Okay, council, we need a motion to find if there are no feasible alternatives to the reasons set out by Mr. Reed in his assessment.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Seabold. Yes. Morrow.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. All right, item 9, consider approval, resolution number 2018-09, of the City Council, of the City of Perry authorizing the filing of an application for financial assistance from the REAP funding source for the wastewater treatment plant effluent lift station project in the City of Perry, Oklahoma. Designated local match of $328,500. Or such other local match as determined appropriate and designated the account from which it would be funded, or to be funded.
These grants involve points. And you get points for certain things, you get points taken away for certain things. You get points taken away because we're a larger community. You get points added because of the type of project this is. You get points for doing a large local match. You get points taken away if you ask for too much money. So it's points given, points taken away, and you've got to come up with a formula where you think you're gonna score. You're gonna score well. Blaine, attached to this is the estimate of this project, and that's $428,500. The way I set it up, we'd ask for a large REAP grant, $100,000. You could ask for less and get taken away a little bit more points, but you get a lot of points for making a large local contribution. And we're making a very large one here. And you get points if it's a consent order, and this is not a consent order, But I think the blend of it very well may work out in our favor. Now, originally we were going to file a REAP grant for phase 3, but as Jennifer pointed out to me when I called her about it, that phase is set. That was set when we did the CDBG loan. We said we were going to put up X number of dollars, and if you give us $159,000, so you can't. Well, we'd like to offset some of that with a REAP grant. That doesn't work. I think in our planning study that we held, we said most of the council, if not all the council, said we want to get these phases done. Now, I had hoped that we would have our meters in and those bids in, so that we would know exactly how much of that other money, we have to spend. We have $1.8 million. If we would have awarded a bid, theoretically, we could have done it today for $1.2 million. We know how much we had left. I'm assuming we're going to get bids like that. And based on what you do, that will be some money to throw against these choice, but we're either gonna have to take this money from our carry forward, or we're gonna have to borrow it. And I think at our planning session, we talked about, once we figure out what that meter is, what that total meter amount, we'll know how to size this and how to do it. But at this point, when you file this grant, you have to let them know that you have the ability to do it. So the way I set this grant up is that we're either gonna do it through an OWRB loan, or we're gonna do it through a bank financing loan, or we're gonna take it from our carry forward. But you have to be able to say that at this time, that you're filing the grant. These grants are due on Halloween. So that's really what I did. I said, well, one of those three ways. So if you approve this, you're kind of authorizing that. I think we'll step back once we get those bids, and we'll find out how much of that money that we can use from that 1.8, how much of the money you want to use from the street sales tax, that portion of the street sales tax that you've got to give the super vote to in order to appropriate that money, and or a borrowing. But it was everybody's, belief, and that may come with with some kind of sewer adder, if we do that. And I think that's probably some kind of sewer adder will probably come. But what this community will have, it'll have a master sewer plan that was passed, that didn't sit on a shelf, that it got implemented, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. And, that's one plan that one was done. And that one was the one that would take us, not that we're not gonna have problems, but it's gonna take us well into the future. So that's what this grant is. We're asking for $100,000. We're gonna put up the local match. And, the project is what we talked about, and that's basically, we're gonna get 2 million-gallon pumps in the lift station. We're gonna be able to lift that sewage up there, and we're gonna put in communications so that we're gonna be able, and variable pumps there too, so that we can control that, and then communications so that we can run that lift station in connection with our water pollution control plan.
The benefit of this pipe bursting method is, the biggest for me is no trenches down the alleys filling backyards up with dirt. And 2, this pipe, the roots can't grow into it. So we're replacing all the clay pipes and old cast iron pipes with this new polymer pipe. And so the infiltration of groundwater is gonna almost be 0. And that was a problem we were having at our, y'all recall some discussions at our lagoons, as the infiltration of so much rainwater in the system that made it spike time and time again. So we'll eliminate a lot of that, if not all of it.
And while that applies to phase 3 that you were just talking about, the pipe bursting, we'll be set for a long time with this phase 4
Yeah.
deal. Now, I will say that when we were talking earlier this year in our strategic planning meeting, we were talking about we have 3 pumps out there right now. We were talking about replacing 1 and 2 this year, and then doing 3 next year. But what Blaine has decided to do is that we're gonna have submersible pumps. We're gonna take the 3 out, we're gonna put 2 in. Both of them are gonna be 60 horsepower submersible pumps. And I happened to ask Vernon, I said, how's this gonna make you feel? He said, I'm gonna be absolutely ecstatic, and I'm not gonna have problems from now on for a good long while. And just like Bryce talks about, this council could say, we had a master plan and we did it.
I asked for a motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 2018-09.
Thanks.
Thank you. Roll call.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Hayford.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Morrow.
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Thank you, council. Let's look at item 10. Consider awarding fuel bids. We received fuel bids from Chemnitz and from OnQ. They are included in your packet. We need to award the off-road diesel to Chemnitz, and unleaded and premium unleaded and premium diesels to OnQ.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Dixon.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Morrell,
Yes.
Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes, thank you. Item 11, consider approval of payment of invoices to Monsoon Consulting. Item A is $10,315 for the wastewater treatment plant lift station upgrade. B, $2,055 for Phase 3 sanitary sewer post-design phase.
Motion to approve invoices?
Second.
This includes item A and B.
Yes.
A and B.
A and B. Roll call, please.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Morrell,
Yes.
Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Item 12, consider approval of engagement letter for Arbitrage Compliance Services with Arbitrage Compliance Specialists Incorporated related to $2,065,000 revenue bonds, Series 2013, authorized payment of the $2,500. This is services required to get these federal bonds.
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Morrell,
Yes.
Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. New business, did we have some new business we want to bring up to see?
We'll talk about the November 19th council meeting.
Yeah. We have our meeting for the first Monday of November, then the second Monday. If there's not anything comes up we must have a meeting for, I would move that we postpone the late November monthly meeting. That is the third Monday of the month.
Postpone council.
Postpone, cancel.
For what reason?
Holidays.
Week of Thanksgiving.
It's up to you guys.
Like do it the 26th, like the following Monday, or just not having the second meeting altogether?
Not have.
And if anything comes up, we can always have a special
We
meeting.
call special. Conversation?
That don't mean you'll cut my pay in half, does it, Gordon?
No, I'm not. I'll take it out of my own if I have to.
Let's take one day off.
Paid holiday, right?
Yeah.
That's fine with me if we don't have anything that's,
Yeah.
Let's have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, Dixie. And don't tell Cole.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Morrell,
Yes.
Stroller,
yes.
Johnson.
Yes. Motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
Roll call?
Gilbert,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
Seabolt. Yes. Morrell,
Yes.
Stroller,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.